It is my distinct honor to present to you the Penn State Law graduating class of 2024.
So my name is Stephen Barnes, Dean of Graduate International Programs at Penn State Law at the Pennsylvania State University.
Amazingly, you have had 50 Uzbek students this year. How did that happen?
Well, you know what, it was pre-COVID, and it was the embassy in Uzbekistan who contacted me, and they were looking...
The U.S. Embassy in Uzbekistan.
This was the Uzbek Embassy in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
The Vice Ambassador contacted me to explore opportunities for collaboration. I just happened to be in the neighborhood in Kazakhstan. We made a visit, and it was interrupted by COVID, but I continued communications between the University of World Economic and Diplomacy and Tashkent State University Law School. And I taught several 10-day courses, lectured and everything else, and we just became integrated, and we saw these commonalities and these opportunities, and this has led to 10 students who graduated in 2021, 23 students in 2022, and this year's class, 47.
Amazing. And most of them have gotten scholarships from here.
Correct, and so the thing they all have in common is that they're new graduates from law schools, they're working in the ministries, or they're professors, they work in NGOs, or in businesses. They've graduated from the universities there, and Penn State Law, as well as the ministries, have offered offsetting scholarships to support them. But they're amazing. Many of them are first-generation college students.
It's not easy to usually coordinate this. How did this work technically, officially, bureaucratically?
You know, it's interesting, is that the bureaucracy layers were very thinned. And I think a lot of it speaks to Tashkent State University Law School and also the University of World Economic Diplomacy. It's the people. There was, when you work with institutions, there has to be a personal chemistry. In the case of Rector Golnoza Ismailova, in the case of Rector Ruslanbekov, they are progressive. They want to see change, and they want to see students have opportunities. And so most of our students here, many of them have had opportunities in Italia and in Poland as exchange students, similar to the same experiences they've had.
So you connected with Uzbekistan then?
Oh, immediately. Yeah. And it's interesting.
Two systems could connect,
Yeah, and I think the thing that's so interesting about Uzbekistan is because after 1989 and 1990 and all the change that happened, Uzbekistan was fairly closed for 15 or 16 years. So there seemed to be this insatiable desire to engage with the rest of the world. So many of the students that we see here today, they've been studying English on their own. They've been watching Netflix. They've been studying English on their own. And so they've made tremendous sacrifices with their family to do this. But I think hopefully they've gained something from this, but we are a better community, we are a better university, we are a better country because of their contributions. So for many people here in this area, in the United States, who are very unfamiliar with Uzbekistan, this was their first look, this was their first impression. So as I remind them, each one of them are ambassadors of Uzbekistan with more impact than even an ambassador in Washington, D.C.
And you want them to go home and practice law there?
Whatever they want to do. As you know, law is a degree that can take you in many different directions, whether it be in the courts or in the ministries or in journalism or whatever. But no, they've come here to learn some skills, and we're going to learn from them, and they're going to go back to Uzbekistan, and the learning continues.
Mm-hmm. So when I talked with some officials about this great presence of Uzbek students at Penn State Law, and told them, actually there are law students on campus at Penn State who are already helping U.S. lawyers working on migrant rights. There is this talent to tap into if you want to provide a better protection of rights of your citizens around the world who go for labor, for other purposes. Labor migration is a major reality in Uzbekistan.
Exactly.
So the government constantly pledges to protect the rights of Uzbeks around the world. And you have thousands of migrants in this country stranded, either in detention centers or along the border, who need help and assistance. And amazingly, some of your students have actually helped American lawyers to do this. But what I heard back from Uzbekistan was, that's easy because you're in the United States and you're working with licensed lawyers there. When they come back to Uzbekistan, those skills may not mean much.
See, and I would argue that legal skills, generally speaking, are universally applicable. Whether it be critical thinking, whether it be writing or whatnot, but also, we live in a globalized, legalized environment. So let's just say like a contract. People like to think, there's the common law contract or the Sharia law contract or the civil law contract. The components and a lot of they have much more in common than not. So you're just getting a different perspective. And I would argue that if a U.S. student were going to Uzbekistan to take a contract law course, I'd say they'd become a better lawyer. Just because you need to have a comparative analysis and to learn those different skills. So I think they're applicable in many different circumstances.
So you would argue that these degrees that they've gotten here should be and must be very helpful back at home.
Oh, absolutely. So the bare minimum for right now, legal English is a very important skill for whether you're living in Saudi Arabia, whether you're living in Finland, whether you're living in Argentina, or Brazil, or Uzbekistan. Legal English is kind of that language that's used in the language of law. At the very least, they've got a very strong foundation in English. But I would also say, too, that whether you say American law or international law, whatever, you become a better lawyer when you have a comparative analysis. But also because of the engagements that Uzbekistan has with the United States and with the EU and other ways, you have to learn how the rest of the world works. It'll make you a better corporate lawyer. It'll make you a better immigration lawyer. It'll make you a better diplomat. It'll make you a better politician. It'll make you a better NGO leader. You have to become engaged with the world.
Tell us a little bit about your school. We know that it is one of the oldest law schools in the country. It's been around, since 1840, 1850? Yeah. And looking here, we're now seeing your international students, and when we came here, you were giving a very motivational speech there, standing on a bench. A scene that many non-Americans may not imagine happen, because when you think of a law school, you think of a very serious place, and you should be wearing a black suit and just everybody looking proper and making all these Hollywood-like arguments, right? Very dramatic. And we come here and everybody is so relaxed. I know that they've just graduated, so they have every right to be relaxed, no more deadlines, at least for now. But what is the environment like here?
So here in the law school, we have 800 students, plus or minus, and about a quarter of them are international students. They come from 30 countries from around the world. And it's part of this larger community here on this main campus, University Park, about 45,000 students, about 15% are international. And we take great pride that we celebrate Christmas, Ramadan, Eid, Chinese New Year, Diwali, we celebrate them all. But these are all serious law students, scholars, professors, general counsels, and they're just having fun here because for the last 10 months, they've been in the law library.
They've been studying.
And the law library is open 24/7, 365 days a year for a reason. They work very, 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 very hard. But the thing we encourage them is forget about this competition and rankings and everything. You're here. This is purposeful. You're lawyers. You're judges. Learn about the cultures. Collaborate. Celebrate one another's holidays. Become acquainted with the professors. Take a professor's invitation to go to their home for dinner. That's the real stuff.
That's the fun part.
Yeah, and so this is just kind of like, we're finished. But we know also, and then we also know that like in 2 days they're going to be studying for a bar exam. They're going to be very emotional, saying goodbye to their friends, going to their home countries. They're going to be looking for jobs or whatever. This is like the...
And I'm sure there are many Uzbeks, young Uzbeks out there watching us and saying, I want to attend that school. I would like to get admitted there.
Yeah.
And we know the way to do it, of course. Go online, look at their admissions office and admissions requirements. But what else do you look for?
Let's talk about the United States or the English-speaking world, or let's say Erasmus and the EU. They're always looking for a baseline English, and that's become kind of sort of the international academic language. That's sort of the starting point. But I think admissions directors and committees are looking like for the other things you've done. Do you play the piano? Do you play tennis? Do you play chess? What are those other things that make you different from others? And
who are you as a person?
Exactly. And also letters of recommendation from people who really know you, that give you a compelling endorsement. I think that's what they're looking for. But as I've told, even when I go to Uzbekistan or when I'm teaching or I'm lecturing, I tell students that it doesn't make any difference where you study, whether it be Finland or Poland or Brazil or the United States or wherever. Broaden your horizons, study abroad. Just as I tell the U.S. students here, go to Egypt, go to Jordan, go to Brazil, go to Norway, go to Sweden. You become a globalized citizen, and you start to find your voice.
Mm-hmm. And you plan to continue this collaboration with Uzbekistan?
Absolutely, inshallah.
And more students expected in
the next year. We'll expect a cohort of about 40 to 45 students, and I don't have any data to support this, but I have a heart. I believe that we receive more graduate students in law from Uzbekistan than any other university in the world, certainly the United States.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for talking to us.
Thank you. You have left an impression, and going to what Telerex said, that you are ambassadors, you have ambassadors here. And I really hope that you take that same spirit of ambassadorship